It's pepper time. Hello again, and welcome back to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim, and it's time for us to start working on our peppers. Hello, and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim, and today we are going to work on peppers. It is mid-February, and we are going to start our peppers today. Now, I am starting peppers a little early because I am working with some very old seeds in some scenarios, as well as some seeds that I recently purchased. And so I want to find out pretty quickly if my seeds are going to germinate or not. Pepper seeds usually take about 14 days to germinate. And so I would lose 2 more weeks if I waited. So we're going to go ahead and start those peppers today. How do I know it's time for me to start my peppers? I use my garden journal. So this garden journal right here is the book that I like to use, and it's my book. So I had been online, I had looked at other different journals out there, and I have done them with blank journals and tried to capture all of my data. And I just decided to make my own journal. So in this seed starting planting journal that I have here, and there will be a link below if you would like to purchase it, but it's on Amazon. And in here, I mark when I should start my seeds. So at the very front, there's a vegetable reference table. Just behind the reference table is where I document when I need to start my seeds. So I list out all of my vegetables. I list them all out, and I have multiple pages of vegetables that I've listed out, and when I need to start my vegetables based on my last frost date. And I try to write all of my vegetables, everything, including the flowers that I'll be starting for seeds. And I wanted to make sure that I got them all in my planner here. And according to my planner, I need to start my peppers on February 20th so that they'll be ready to go in the garden. And I want to put some nice sized peppers in the garden so they can have a jump start on the year and we can get peppers sooner, in addition to the ones I'm overwintering in my indoor grow space. So it says on February 20th, I need to be starting peppers. Today is February 17th, so I'm right around that time of when I need to start my peppers. And so this planner is perfect for me because it lists my vegetables, when I plan to start them, and then I can just quickly flip in here to see when I need to do it and when I actually start my seeds. There's 2 other sections in this book if you're interested. There's a feeding schedule, and I always forget when I fertilize my plants, whether I'm indoors or outdoors. So there's a place in here so you can capture every time you fertilize your plants. And then in the very back, I have a notes page, and there's several of those in here where I can look at each and every one of my plants to see how they're doing in the garden as the season progresses. So these were the things that were important to me. And so I put them in a nice little book here that you can pick up and take to the garden, because you don't want your computer out in the garden and then you forget everything that you wanted to write down when you bring it back in from a computer standpoint. This little book, I can just throw it out in the garden and enter things into this while I'm in the garden. So it works for me. If you're interested, a link will be below. So it says I need to start peppers, so we are going to start peppers today. I've already got all of my little seed trays ready to go with all of the different types of peppers that I'm starting. There's a lot in here, y'all. I'm starting 35 different peppers today. I have more seeds coming. I couldn't help it. I have more seeds coming, but we're going to start 35 different peppers today, and I'll share with you which ones we're starting. Let's do that next. Let me share all the peppers because I don't want you to have to watch me fill each and every one of these seeds. And so if you're just interested in the different varieties, you'll be able to see that next. Just a little bit of information about peppers. Sweet peppers typically germinate faster than hot peppers. Typically. That's not always the case, but that's typically what happens. So let's talk about the different sweet peppers that I'm starting today. And some of these are from seed shares, so I'm really excited about those. So we will be starting Cubanelle, Joe Parker, Giant Marconi, Mosquito, California Wonder, and I have a couple different packs of California Wonder. These are from 2013. These are sweet long peppers. And I actually marked on the back of my tags when I was going to plant super old seeds so that if they don't germinate, I'm going to toss them and we're going to keep moving. But I didn't want to think that they were new seeds versus old seeds. So we've captured those. At least I think I did. We're going to do a Purple Beauty. And I don't have a picture of Purple Beauty here, but it's just like a California Wonder, but it's purple. So I just showed you a red California Wonder, and now we're going to do an orange California Wonder, Zulu. And I am currently growing Zulu in my overwintered GreenStalk vertical planter in my indoor grow space right behind me, but we're going to grow a few more. We will also sell them at our plant sale. And typically that's going to be in the April timing. So I'm planting what I need for myself and the 3 other families that I'm growing for, as well as the ones that I need for the plant sale. And the plant sale is a big piece of my seed starting season because that's where I recoup the money that I spent on any seed starting mix, fertilizer, all of those type things. That's how I break even and not lose money when I have to buy those things, including seeds. Not that I needed to buy seeds, but I did. Let me finish getting through these seeds. So this is the Yellow Monster, King of the North, which is a really nice blocky bell pepper, and it's good for northern gardeners. I am in zone 6. I've always said 6A, but with the new layouts and everything, I'm just going to start saying zone 6. I'm in Southwest Ohio, and King of the North grows very well for me in my zone. Jimmy Nardello, Pippin, Golden Honey. Now these are all sweet peppers that I'm sharing with you right now. I have a sweet cherry stuffer, and here's the picture for that one. I don't have pictures for this on the packet, but right here's the picture. Actually, right here is the picture, and it's called a cherry stuffer hybrid. I'm also doing a Costa Rica sweet hybrid as well. And I will be doing Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is my all-time favorite sweet pepper. Thunderbolt. And here's a picture of the Thunderbolt. And I got 2 spots for the Thunderbolt, so we can make sure we have plenty of those. I was down to my last 6 seeds, y'all. I had to buy some more seeds. We could not run out of Thunderbolt. I'm also going to do 2 peppers that are traditionally hot, but I have the, if you want to call, low heat varieties of them, and I'll show you both at the same time. I have the jalapeno, which is this right here, which is a jalapeno without the heat, and the habanada. And the habanada is a habanero without the heat. So we'll be growing both of those this year. Maybe my family can handle those because they can't handle the heat. Now, in addition to those sweet peppers, I have the ones from a seed share. So I have a California Wonder red pepper from Guten Gardening and California Wonder red. So that'll be in addition to the ones that I've gotten from the different seed companies. He also sent me, and these are from last year and the year before, and I don't remember which is which, but he also sent me a short red pepper. And so he's been growing this in his garden for several years. And so it's a short red pepper. So I'm going to assume similar to the California Wonder, but it's red and it's shaped like a bell. And then we brought some peppers from our own garden. So my neighbor back in 2014 collected these seeds. And these are from a pepper, he calls it a yummy pepper. And it puts me in the mind of the Pippin Golden Honey. It's a short snacking pepper. And he has red seeds for the yummies, yellow, and orange. And we grew these last year and they did amazing in the garden. They were on plants that were really short. They were probably about 12 to 18 inches tall, but the peppers were so full and beautiful. I believe the orange or the yellow ones did best in the garden last year. And I gave some of those plants to a friend of mine, and they had them in their GreenStalk over at their house, and they said they were delicious as well. And I believe they said the reds did best for them. So we know these were viable last year. They're 10 years old this year. We're going to see if they're viable this year. And now we're going to move over to the hot peppers. For the hot peppers, I have paprika from the garden that we will be growing. But I'll show you a seed pack for the paprika, or will I? I don't have the seed pack. Paprika, here's a picture of the seed pack for paprika, if I can find it. I also have some jalapenos from the garden from last year. And then I got kind of lazy. I didn't collect a lot of seeds last year. We will do better this year so that we can stop buying seeds and only use the ones from our harvest. But for the hot peppers, I got this one as a free seed this year. And it says it's hot. So this will not be for my immediate family, but it can be for my brother as well as some of the other friends that I'm growing for this year. Don't know anything about it, but we'll be growing that one. Cayenne long, so a cayenne long pepper. Here's a picture because I don't have it on my seed pack, but cayenne long. Serrano. I will be doing the early jalapenos, and I have two different varieties of the early jalapeno. I'm going to do the Tam jalapeno as well. It's a larger jalapeno pepper. I'm doing this Greek pepper that I always mispronounce, so I'll just show it to you. I'm doing an Anaheim chili, and I'll have to look and see if I have a picture. I may not, but Anaheim chili. Two different types of poblanos, just the standard poblano peppers. This is an older seed. I don't know if it's going to germinate very well. And then we will do the mulatto, which is more of a chocolate poblano pepper, a chocolate habanero. And it's just like a regular habanero, but it's chocolate. If I can get a picture, I'll put it here. If not, habanero, but chocolate in color. And then the big experiment. This is the big one. I found seeds that were packaged in 2001. And my neighbor put 2004 on here. So I don't know if that's the last time that he used them and they worked or what. I'm not sure. But these are Encho 101s. And basically that's just like, if I'm not mistaken, it's a dried poblano. And we're going to try it. I'm going to probably plant the whole pack, if not, and there's a lot of seeds in here. I'm going to plant most of the seeds to see if we can get any of them to germinate. So we're going to have a little fun with 20-year-old seeds, and we can see how they do. 20-year-old seeds, just a little fun. If they don't germinate, there's no loss. Look at all of these peppers. Now, those are the peppers that we're going to do. And if you want more information about the peppers and the different varieties that I'm growing, I have a video out there. And here's the cover for that video about peppers and which ones I'm growing this year and which ones I might not be growing this year. And if you want more details of all of those different varieties, check out that video. And it's only about peppers, so you can learn how they grew for me last year or the years before, whenever I grew them last. Again, I've already put the soil in my little tray here. The soil that I'm using is a Jiffy seed starting mix. Now, you don't have to use a seed starting mix. This is just what I prefer to use. Some people use potting soil. Some people make their own mix. You can use whatever you prefer to use. Just make sure that it's a very, I call it fine soil. You don't want sticks and big pieces of bark and that kind of stuff, because it will inhibit the growth of your seeds, right? They're trying to grow roots down and they're hitting woods and sticks, and that never goes over well for seed starting. So whatever you use, just make sure that it's nice and fluffy and free of a lot of big, thick pieces. As far as planting depth, I always say follow your seed pack. Whatever your seed pack says you need to do, that's what you should follow. Typically for peppers, you're going to plant them about 1/4 of an inch deep, typically, but follow your seed pack and just do whatever your seed pack says. Now, I am going to put quite a few seeds in each one of these seed cells because I want to make sure that, one, they germinate, because some of these are old. I have some 2014, some 21s, a 2004, some 22s, and then some more. A 2011 is on here as well. But I want to make sure they germinate, and I am going to up pot my pepper plants. If I'm going to up pot them, why not put all 6, if I want 6 of one particular variety, in one cell first to make sure that it germinates. I don't want to waste that space if it's not going to germinate. And then when we get ready to up pot, we will separate them out. Now, if you have a ton of space to start your seeds, skip this step. It's an extra step you don't have to take. Put it in the size container that you plan on transplanting them out into your garden. I just don't have that space, and I need to start hundreds of plants for myself and what I'm growing for my family and friends, as well as for the seeds or the plant sale that I'm going to have in April. So I need the space. And so we're going to get these seeds going. I'll show you a couple of these, and then I'll bring you back when we're all done and we'll talk about watering. Okay, we talked about putting everything about 1/4 of an inch deep. Let's first put all of our seeds in, and then we'll come back and bury them. So this is a red yummy. It's right here. Yep, that seems like enough. I put in there, yep, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, there's about 12 plants in there. That's probably way too many. But these seeds are 10 years old, and I don't know how well they're going to germinate. And if I have too many seeds, then I can just cut some away. I can pull them out. I can take the strongest seeds to up pot them into a larger cell. So there's the red yummies. We'll do the same thing for all of the seeds as we're getting them put in. And I'm putting extra seeds in the old ones for the old ones. And let's go ahead and put the Pippin Golden Hot in. And we will finish this particular cell right here so you can see it. And then we'll just move on and bring you back. So for the Pippin Golden Hot, I keep saying Golden Hot, Pippin Golden Honey. It's not a hot pepper, it's a sweet pepper. And it's very similar in size to the Yummies. Now this is a new seed. It was packaged for the 2023 season, so they're not old. I don't have to put a ton of them in there, but I'm still going to put about 10 or 12 because we want quite a few of these plants. I think they'll sell very nicely at the seed. I keep saying seed, at the plant sale. So I have the seeds in here, and I need to bury them to about 1/4 of an inch deep. So I'm just going to give them a good toss. Now when I'm completely done, I may come back and put just a little bit more seed starting mix on top. I was running kind of low, so I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough to do this project. But you see, I just gave them a little berry. I'm going to do the same thing with all of the rest of these. I'm trying to be extra careful so that I don't mix these up, and I definitely don't want to lose the tag. I'll think I'm growing red peppers and they'll be orange or yellow. 10-year-old seeds that grew for me last year. So we know that these seeds will last for at least 10 years. The question is, will they last for 20? Because we have 20-year-old seeds that we're planting as well. And that's the process we're going to use for all of these. So I will get these finished up and then I'll bring you back. If I didn't mention, peppers need about 8 weeks from the time you start the seeds up until when you can transplant them into your garden. Starting them to give yourselves at least 8 weeks before your last frost is always a good idea. I like to give mine about 10 weeks because I want a larger plant with stronger roots and stronger stems. So just so you know, you're not going to plant seeds and in 2 weeks take them outside. You need about 8 weeks. I keep talking about my plant sale, and I've had some questions in the comments, so let me take a moment now to talk a little bit about and maybe answer some of those questions for you if you're thinking about doing a plant sale this year. If I think about how much I pay for a pack of seeds, and my packs of seeds can run upwards of, honestly, $8, depending on if it's a rare seed or a very common seed. If you buy your seeds from MIGardener, his seed packs are $2 for the most part. There's some that are a little more, but for the most part, they're $2 a pack. And if I sell, if I sell just one plant, just one, I have my money back for the seeds that I purchased from MIGardener. And MIGardener, I think, has, I don't know, somewhere between, and I don't have any of his seeds readily. Let's see. Here's a pack of seeds from MIGardener. And these are serrano peppers from MIGardener. And there's approximately 50 seeds in his pack. And I paid $2 for that seed pack. 50 seeds. I paid $2. All I got to do is sell one plant, and I got my money back. So seed sales can really help you get your money back from your seeds. Now, a lot of the other companies, their seeds are more like $4 and $5 and $6, and some of them just out of this world in price. So I need to sell a little more than one plant, but I can sell extra of MIGardener's plants, and it'll make up the difference for some of these other seed companies that I have plants from. So just want to throw that out there. Have a seed sale, get your money back, help pay for the fertilizer and the soil and all of those things it took to get your seeds started. Now, I said I want to put some extra seeds in there, but I wasn't trying to put 30. Not on my jimmies. I already have Jimmy Nardellos in my indoor grow space. I don't need that many. I'll be trying to find homes for all of these plants, and then you'll be looking at me walking around the garden like, where am I going to put these seeds? And I do sell my plants for $2, and that's it. And that's what I will continue to do as long as I can afford to do so. Have you guys priced how much vegetable plants cost at the big box stores and the nurseries and everywhere else? I mean, it's highway robbery. So I will continue to sell mine for $2 a plant. I know they're healthy. I know they're getting fertilizer along the way. And if that's going to help one more person grow their own food because they can afford to buy my plants where they thought they couldn't afford to buy plants, that's a win. That's a win for me. And that's what I'm looking for, wins. Wins to help others get to the point where they're growing their own foods. So we got some 13-year-old seeds here. All of the seeds are in, so we are ready to move to the next step. Now, before I move completely to the next step, I didn't talk about how I like to prepare my soil. So when I get my soil, and I talked about, I buy a Jiffy starting mix, right? This is the soil I prefer to use. You, like I said, you can use whatever you want. But I boil my soil first. I get boiling hot water and I pour over my seed starting mix and I mix it up really well. And it kills any types of larvae, eggs, anything that might be hiding in that soil, because you don't want an outbreak of insects, right? You don't want to have an infestation of insects in your indoor grow space. And so I had quite a few people ask me, like, hey, how do you get rid of fungus gnats, and how do you get rid of spider mites and some of those other type things? And if I've ever had an issue with those things from bringing my plants in from outdoors into my indoor grow space for winter, gardening. And though I've never been overrun by specifically fungus gnats, have I ever had some? Yes, but I've never been overrun. And a lot of people say, hey, what do you do about your fungus gnats? For fungus gnats in my indoor grow space, I use these double-sided sticky tape, super sticky insect trap. This is what it's called. And there'll be a link to it below. And I just put that down into my pots, into my GreenStalks. And so if anything hatches from the soil, it's going to hit that tape first, and then it's going to die. It's never going to get to fly around in my house. Or if it decides to come in and it wants to lay its eggs, it's going to get stuck. So this is all I've ever used in my indoor grow space. But in the GreenStalk, in their second edition of their GreenStalk magazine, in here it talks about what to do about unwanted insects. So let me find it. Susan is a master gardener, and she's talking about what to do for insects that you don't want in your garden. So if you're interested in this GreenStalk magazine, there will be a link below to the GreenStalk website where you can pick yourself up a GreenStalk if you're interested, as well as you can get a copy of their magazine, which has a wealth of knowledge in it. I mean, there are recipes in here, as well as this pest control, which they talk about fungus gnats. And it says how to get rid of the fungus gnats. There's something called mosquito bits. I said bites on another video, but it's mosquito bits. It's for mosquitoes, but it does something to get rid of fungus gnat larvae. And they talk about other types of things you can get rid of, like Japanese beetles, slugs are in here. What else is in here? They talk about stink bugs, ants. There's a ton of tips in here. Recipes are in here. GreenStalk talks about different things that are coming, as well as there are different gardeners in here that talk about, tips of how they grow in their GreenStalks. And I just happen to be in this season's magazine. So if you're interested in the magazine, go to GreenStalk, pick you one up. If you're going to purchase more than $75, use my coupon code so you can get $10 off your orders of $75 or more. But it tells me mosquito bits is the way to go for fungus gnats. I just went online and I bought some just to see what it was, how it works. Again, I am not overrun with fungus gnats. Do I have some? Yes, one or two here or there, absolutely. The sticky tape has it all. But this is the mosquito bits. And I purchased it just so I can see if I can help the viewers out. And it's a big bag. And what I've done is add it to the bottom of this tray right here. So every time that I water, it's going to, pick up whatever this mosquito bits is, and it will not only kill mosquitoes, right? It's a quick kill for mosquitoes, but it says right on the front, controls fungus gnat larva. So it will keep the larva from hatching. So if you have fungus gnats now, at least they won't be able to hatch and, multiply. And so I've added this to all of my seed starting trays, and I just put a teeny little bit in there because I don't know anything about it. I don't want to mess my young seedlings up. But I put a little bit in the bottom of each of my trays. So when I water, it'll pick it up, it'll absorb it into the soil, and it'll keep any new fungus gnat larva from hatching. But anyway, wanted to let you know about that because I have lots and lots of comments on that. I also had some comments on what to do about spider mites and aphids and neem oil. Neem oil is a good remedy, or it'll help control aphids, white flies, and spider mites. Neem oil. Now, I haven't used this in my garden, in my indoor garden, because I haven't needed it, but I wanted to make sure you knew what it was. This is just one brand. I'm sure there's many other brands out there. Haven't needed it indoors at all. And honestly, I haven't really needed it outdoors either because I purchased ladybugs, and ladybugs are, God's gift to your garden to help with aphids and spider mites and all those type things. And I purchase ladybugs every year, but we'll talk about that when we get outdoors. Let's get back to this here, where we know how to control any fungus gnats that might be coming. We got the mosquito bits in the bottom here, and I have all of my seeds in. The trays are ready to go. And then you have to think about watering. Well, since I took boiling water and put over my seed starting mix, my soil is nice and dark, is moist. We don't need to water right now. But when I do water, I always water from the bottom. And so I will pour water in the tray. I don't know, maybe about a quarter of the way up. And I'll let that water soak up from the bottom to saturate all the soil. Now, if your soil is super, super dry, I mean super dry, almost to the point where it's going to wick the water away, so the water won't even absorb because it's just that dry, then I will take water and I will just spray the tops of each one of my cells, and I don't have much water in here, but spray the tops of each one of my seed starting cells here all the way through. Don't need to do this. My soil is super wet, but I would do this throughout my whole tray. And then I would water from the bottom, which I still think is the best way to water your seedlings. And I don't know why, but when you put that little bit of water on top and you got the water coming in from the bottom, it'll just suck that water right in there. You know it's time to water when the top, I don't know, inch or so of the soil becomes a light brown in color, at least with the seed starting mix that I'm using. So it becomes a light brown color. You get your water, you water from the bottom again, and it'll soak it up and it'll be dark brown, almost black like this after you water. If you water it, sucked it all up, maybe your soil is still light brown, maybe you need to add a little more water. But once it stops absorbing the water, so in about 15 or 20 minutes or so, if there's still water in the bottom of your tray, you need to pour that water off of your seedlings. You don't want standing water in your seeds, your seedlings, as they're trying to grow. It will rot out the roots and it'll kill your plants off. And so you want nice, healthy plants. And so you don't want them sitting in water. I call them soggy bottoms. You don't want those soggy bottoms. So that's the process. Water from the bottom. If it's super dry, spray some water on the top to get them started. And I do this in my GreenStalks as well, right? If I'm planting seeds, I'll give them a nice spray from the top to get them started. I don't need to do this. This stuff is super wet. And then we need to move this over and talk about next steps. Pepper plants need warmth to grow. These are warm season crops. And if you are putting them in a very cold area, they're not going to germinate, especially if you're like outside in a greenhouse and it's 50 degrees, they're not going to germinate. They like warm temperatures to germinate. And so we're going to move this into my indoor grow tent, and I'm going to show you my heat mat that we'll be using and the temperature that these need to get to. So I'm in my indoor grow space, and this is my seed mat, and I only have one. I mean, could I have more? Absolutely. Could I have a 3 foot or 4 foot long one? I could, but I don't. So we're only going to use this to get my seedlings started, to give them that nice warm soil. And in my indoor grow space, it's inside my house. It's in my basement. We keep our house to 68, 69 degrees. And so that's the temperature of the whole house, including my basement. And then I'm in here with all of these grow lights. And with the grow lights inside my indoor grow tent, I'm probably more closer to like 74, 75 degrees, maybe in that range with all of these lights on in this space. I believe I'm good. I've actually grown peppers without a heat mat. So it's possible, but I want to guarantee germination. So we will be using this heating mat. And some heating mats don't come with temperature control, but mine does. I will have a link to this particular seed heating mat in the description box below. But I can set the temperature for this depending on what types of seeds I'm starting. So on here, it tells me for pepper plants, it's only going to take, using this, about 7 to 10 days, where without this, I was at about 14 days. So 7 to 10 days if I use this. And it says, let's see here. It says approximate days to germination. If I'm around the 70 to 85 degree Fahrenheit mark or 24 to 30 degrees Celsius, that's where I need to set this to, right? And so if I can germinate these peppers in just a little over a week, if I keep the temperature between 70 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 24 and 30 degrees Celsius. So that's what we're going to set this to. So let me get my mat down and make room. And I love the way this works. So, all right, so here's the little thermostat for it. And this thermostat is plugged up into an outlet, and the actual seed mat plugs right into the thermostat. So I now have the thermostat plugged up, and it has a little probe here. So let's get our seeds up here on the shelf so we can see what we're doing. So the seeds are on the shelf. I'm going to stick this little probe into one of the little containers here. It doesn't matter which one. Got a seed poking his head out there. I'll probably put it in the back here, out the way. So I have the probe sticking in one of my little trays here, and it's going to monitor the temperature of that soil. And if the heat mat needs to be on, it's going to turn on, and it'll keep that temperature set. And we are going to set it to 75 degrees is what we're going to set it to. And the heat mat will come on every time it falls below 75 degrees. And there's a probe in there that will keep track of that. Okay, the soil is currently at 68.9 degrees, and it's actually set to 77, so we'll just leave it there. So these pepper seedlings are ready to go. Hopefully, in about 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks, we will see them pop their little heads up, and that means they're coming to the party with the rest of the seedlings. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and you'll get to see all of these things come to life as they continue to grow in my indoor grow space as we get ready for the outdoor garden. So Until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you come back to Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.